Have you ever looked to the sky and asked with tears in your eyes how much longer you will have to wait for an answer? It seems that God's promises for your life have fallen into a deep silence, while everyone around you celebrates victories. The clock doesn't stop, and the feeling that your time is running out tries to steal your hope. But stop for a moment and listen. God's delay is not forgetfulness. It's a careful process of preparation. This video is the real reason you needed to understand that your miracle is not lost along the way. There is an unexpected blessing being forged in the fire of your patience, and it will arrive at the perfect moment. The pain of waiting for something that never arrives is one of the loneliest battles a human being can face. You see friends, family, and even strangers achieving what you've always dreamed of, while your situation remains the same. Comparison is a poison that whispers in your ear that God has forgotten your address. Often you feel like you're in an endless waiting room, where everyone else's name is called except yours. Prayers seem to bounce off the ceiling, and spiritual exhaustion begins to weigh more than your body can bear. It's hard to keep smiling when your heart is aching from the delay in receiving an answer. Have you ever thought about giving up on believing, thinking that perhaps your quota of miracles has already been exhausted in this life? The weight of waiting makes the days seem like years, and the nights become stages of cruel doubts and uncertainties. God knows every breath you took while looking at the emptiness of an unfulfilled promise. The frustration of planning and then watching time take your plans away is a wound that few people truly understand. You feel stagnant, as if life is on pause, while the world outside continues spinning at high speed. But know that your waiting is not wasted time. It's a time of silent building. God sees your persistence in remaining faithful, even when there is no sign of rain on the horizon of your desert. He counts every tear that fell while you said everything was all right, even though your soul was shattered by anguish. Your weariness is not a sign of lack of faith, but proof of your humanity. Enjoy this video now as a gesture of someone who decides to renew their strength to continue believing, despite the apparent delay. By doing so, you are telling your heart that the story is not yet over and that the author is faithful. Your victory is being prepared behind the scenes of your pain, and the stage is being set. Take a deep breath and let the weight of this anxiety begin to lift from your shoulders right now, at this very moment. The real reason for your wait will be revealed, and you will understand that every second of delay had a divine purpose. The God who created time is not limited by it, and He is in control of your journey. There's a reason why the most valuable things in life don't appear overnight under the sun. The most expensive and prized wine is the one that has spent years in silence, maturing in the deep darkness of a cold cellar. If the process were rushed, the taste would be ordinary, but the waiting gives it a nobility that time cannot erase. God doesn't want to give you something ordinary, something anyone can have without effort or spiritual preparation. He is allowing you to mature in silence so that your victory has a taste of eternity and glory. What is generated in haste often dies in the first wind, but what takes time creates deep roots. Often, your anxiety tries to force a harvest before the fruit is truly sweet and ready for consumption. If you received the miracle the moment you asked for it, you might not have the strength to maintain it or the maturity to enjoy it. God's timing is the filter that separates what is fleeting from what will be an eternal legacy. The metaphor of the seed in dark soil teaches us that the most important growth happens where no one can see or notice. While you think nothing is happening, God is working on your foundation, strengthening your character and your faith. The darkness of waiting is not a sign of death, but the ideal environment for the miracle to germinate. Share this video now with someone who is about to give up because they think God's timing has passed. Be the messenger who reminds that soul that the best wine is always served at the end of life's feast. When we encourage someone in their waiting, our own time seems to run faster under the Lord's grace. The beauty of what God is preparing for you will leave people amazed by the quality of your newfound peace. Do not accept the cheap wine of quick fixes that the world offers to alleviate your immediate and fleeting pain. Wait for what is excellent, for what comes from above, and for what bears the seal of divine perfection. Your miracle is taking shape, color, and fragrance in the heavenly storehouses as you remain steadfast in your purpose of faith. Time is not your enemy. It is God's servant working to make your victory absolutely unforgettable and complete. Rest assured that maturation is necessary for the result to be truly extraordinary for you. Remember the story of Lazarus, where Jesus received news of his illness and purposefully decided to wait 2 more full days. In human eyes, that delay was a fatal mistake that cost the life of a friend dearly loved by the Master. Martha and Mary wept over the delay, feeling that if God had arrived sooner, the worst would not have happened. Many times you say, "Lord, if it had been a year ago, my business wouldn't have closed or my heart wouldn't be suffering." But the mystery of Lazarus reveals to us that Jesus didn't just want to cure an illness, he wanted to resurrect a dead man. The lesser miracle requires haste, but the miracle that stops the world demands that human time be exhausted. God delayed your victory so that there would be no doubt that it was his hand that worked the impossible. If it had happened sooner, you would have given credit to your intelligence, luck, or your own contacts and efforts. On the 4th day of the tomb, when the stench was already emanating, the Lord appeared to manifest his ultimate glory. Jesus' delay served to show everyone that he has authority even over what seems to be dead. What you considered finished is exactly what God will use to leave people speechless today. Don't complain about the delay, because it's the perfect setting for a manifestation of power that no one can dispute. Subscribe to this channel to strengthen your faith daily and understand the times and seasons of God's work. Just like Lazarus' sisters, you will see that the tears of waiting prepare the way for the cry of resurrection. Being connected to the Word prevents you from giving up at the edge of the grave when life is returning. Jesus arrived late for the funeral, but he arrived at exactly the right time to demonstrate that he is life itself. Your victory is not overdue. It is simply awaiting the moment when God's glory will shine even brighter. Trust in heaven's clock, for it never fails a single second in delivering on its promises. Remove the stone of disbelief now and prepare to hear the Master's voice calling your miracle forth. Lazarus' delay resulted in the greatest testimony of that time, and your delay will result in the greatest blessing of your life. The real reason for the delay is that God wants to do something that no one has ever seen or heard of. The victory you so desire carries a weight of glory that your heart of yesterday perhaps could not bear. God delays the miracle so that your character may be forged before your hand reaches the trophy of conquest. A blessing too great given to a man too small can end up becoming his ruin and destruction. The Lord is working on your emotional structure, teaching you to be faithful in little things so that you don't get lost in much. Each day of waiting is a hammer blow from the divine sculptor, removing the rough edges of pride and self-sufficiency from your soul. You're being prepared to be a steward of the kingdom and not just a consumer of fleeting miracles. Often, the delay is the time God takes to uproot vanity from us that would make us forget the source. If the blessing arrived when you were immature, it would distance you from God's presence instead of drawing you closer. The desert of waiting is the seminary where you learn that the provider is always greater than the provision. Now declare with all the sincerity of your spirit in the comments, "God is preparing me," sealing your learning. By saying this, you acknowledge that the process is necessary and that you accept the training of the Holy Spirit in your life. This humility accelerates God's work. because it demonstrates that the vessel is already ready for the oil. A proven character is what guarantees that your victory will be lasting and that it will not slip through your fingers. God is not in a hurry because he works for eternity, while we are in a hurry because we focus only on the present. Let the Lord complete the work within you before manifesting the work on your exterior today. The authority you will have to speak of overcoming will come from the scars you earned while waiting with patience and faith. No one can teach about God's faithfulness if they have never had to trust in him in the midst of absolute silence. Your voice will have a different weight when the miracle arrives, because it will have been tempered in the fire. Understand that the real reason the miracle hasn't arrived yet is God's love protecting your spiritual integrity. He prefers that you wait a little longer rather than allow the blessing to take you away from his embrace. Preparing your heart is the greatest guarantee that when the door opens, you will enter with wisdom. How many times have you complained about the delay without knowing that God was actually saving you from an abyss just ahead? What you call a delay, heaven calls a strategic deliverance so that your foot does not stumble on the journey. God has blocked your path now to prevent you from encountering the destroyer who awaited you there ahead. The Lord knows the intentions of every heart and the hidden dangers that lurk behind seemingly good doors. Sometimes you may want to enter into a relationship or business deal that would be your greatest source of pain and regret. God's temporary no is the invisible shield that protects you from traps you cannot yet see. Thank the Lord for the doors that didn't open and the flights that were cancelled by the sovereign hand of the Creator of all things. You only see the piece of road ahead of you, but God sees the complete map of your existence. Trust in the wisdom of the one who knows the enemy's ambushes and keeps you safe in the refuge of delay. Activate the notification bell so you always receive this alert of vigilance and peace for your heart. Keeping your mind aligned with spiritual discernment prevents you from falling into complaining when things don't go your way. You will learn to praise both the door that opens and the door that remains closed for protection. Overcoming challenges begins when you stop fighting against God's timing and start flowing with his perfect will. What seems like an obstacle is often God himself guiding your boat to safer and calmer waters. Don't try to rush things if the Lord is telling you to be still and observe his true deliverance. The miracle you so desire may be withheld simply because God is removing the thorns from the path you are about to tread. He is clearing the area, driving away the wolves, and preparing the feast so that you may eat in absolute peace today. The delay is the care of a father who does not want to see his child hurt by hasty choices. Feel the relief now of knowing that you are not late. You are simply being protected by divine and faithful providence. Your destiny is guarded, and no one can steal what God has sealed for your life at the opportune and right time. Rest in the protection of the Almighty, for even his silence works in favor of your survival and victory. What is being prepared for you is not just an ordinary answer, but something your eyes have never seen. God delayed the process because he didn't just want to give you what you asked for, but what he dreamed of. The real reason for the delay is that the size of the gift will be proportional to the size of your endurance in waiting. We often ask only for relief, but the Lord wants to give us an inexhaustible source of joy and peace. The unexpected blessing is one that arrives without warning, breaking human protocols and surprising even your fiercest enemies. What's coming will erase from your memory every day of bitterness and utter loneliness. God is fine-tuning the details of a connection, a healing, or a provision you weren't expecting. Prepare to be surprised by a twist that will completely change the course of your family and personal history now. The delay was the necessary investment so that the reward of your faith would be something supernatural and immense. What you stopped asking for, thinking it was too late, is exactly what God will resurrect. The Lord loves to be the author of surprises that leave his children amazed by such kindness and paternal care. Your victory will have such an intense brilliance that everyone will know there was a direct touch from the finger of God. Type the name of something you are hoping for in faith in the comments, sealing your expectation of a miracle. By doing this, you are making room for God's newness to enter and take the place of old frustration. The unexpected blessing is just waiting for the green light from heaven to fully manifest in your life today. You will not only receive a miracle, you will become the living miracle itself before all who doubted you. The honor God will give you will be public, so that his name may be glorified through your faithful persistence. Do not settle for crumbs, for the banquet being prepared is worthy of an heir of the king. The real reason you haven't received it yet is that heaven has a much larger supply for you. Wait for the extraordinary, because anyone can achieve the ordinary through their own effort and worldly luck. God has a personalized gift, with your name written on it, saved for this prophetic time that begins now. To receive what is coming, your heart needs to be in total alignment with the sovereign will of the Father. Cleanse your soul of any lingering resentment from the time that has passed and the delay you didn't understand. The final alignment requires you to stop looking back and focus on the light that is already dawning on your horizon. The peace you feel now is a sign that your spiritual frequency has shifted from fear to trust. When you align yourself with God's timing, anxiety loses its power and the certainty of victory prevails. The miracle makes the final turn when it finds a heart that has learned to rest even in the desert. Don't try to understand the how or the when. Just rest in the faithfulness of the one who has never broken a single covenant. Your role now is to keep the lamp lit and the oil of worship overflowing on your personal altar today. The Lord is taking care of the final arrangements so that your joy may be complete and without hindrance. Type Amen to claim your victory and to confirm that you accept God the Father's perfect timing. This act of spiritual agreement closes the cycle of waiting and opens the cycle of the actual manifestation of your miracle. You are ready, your character has been approved, and your inheritance is released in the heavenly realms for you. Observe how the circumstances around you begin to work in your favor from this very moment of faith. Alignment brings with it a divine order that places each piece of the puzzle in its proper and correct place. Nothing is out of order in your life anymore, because the Master has taken complete control of every detail. Take advantage of this final silence to give thanks in advance for everything your hands have not yet touched, but believe in. Advance gratitude is the highest proof that you understood the real reason for the delay and have matured through the trial. You are no longer the same as before, and therefore your blessing will also be unique and special. The sun of righteousness is rising with healing and restoration on its wings to illuminate your new path. The time of shame has been buried, and the time of double honor has begun to sprout in your dry land. Celebrate, for the wait was worthwhile, and what is coming is far better than expected. This is the end of your desert journey and the beginning of your promised land, where milk and honey will flow. The Lord heard every prayer of yours, and the delay was merely the necessary setting for the greatest victory of your life. Go in peace, knowing that the real reason for the wait was God's unconditional love for you. The miracle is no longer far away. It's at the door, waiting only for you to open it, with the smile of someone who has trusted. May this unexpected blessing reach you today, and may your testimony edify thousands of lives around the world. Victory is yours. The time is now, and glory belongs entirely to our faithful and good God.